going on. I can't believe it's been 2 weeks since you've been here because we have a whole new rash of things that we want to talk to you about. And I think we really have to start with
I think the news of the day.
The economy, stock market, the impact this is having on Arizonans. I've a genuine question for you. What can the governor do? A governor, you. What can you do to help Arizonans during this time? Is there anything in your power?
Well, look, I think that what we're seeing is just a lot of uncertainty because there's tariffs one day, there's not the next day, maybe there will be the next day, we don't know. But the bottom line is that businesses want certainty and consumers want certainty, and they need that. And when we're already in an environment where people are struggling with the cost of groceries and housing, that uncertainty is impacting those who can least afford it the most. And so I've been working to lower costs for Arizonans. This president ran on lowering costs for Americans, and I would love to see some policy coming out of the White House that actually does that. And it's a place where I hope we can work together.
Governor Katie Hobbs joining us in studio. You called Trump's policies, quote, the worst economic policies ever. When we're looking at the Dow, did you not? Did I have the wrong quote?
Did we say that?
I thought I saw that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
know.
Does he have the worst economic policies ever?
I mean, I think that there might be a place for tariffs,
Okay.
which at the end of the day are going to be a tax on Americans. But I would like to see a little more strategy behind and planning so that we're not seeing this uncertainty, which is what's creating sort of the economic anxiety that we're seeing today.
Yeah, like today, the tariffs were on and then they were off. And we've seen days like that. So with the economy, with the stock market, is Trump playing with fire or is he committing arson?
Ooh.
Well, or is he blaming the previous president for all of this? Look, I think that the president needs to come out clearly with a strategy, and so that there will be more certainty in the economic environment, which is really what we all need to stop this yo-yoing.
Do you think we're headed for a recession?
Well, I'm not an economist. It is above my pay grade to predict that. But I just think, again, people want stability. They need stability. And we are not getting that from the White House right now.
Governor Katie Hobbs in studio with us right now. Governor Hobbs, maybe you know the latest story on this. The CHIPS Act, the Taiwan semiconductor, the huge investment,
Yes.
the plants here, north of Phoenix. I've heard people say it's going to keep going, and I hear Trump saying we need to get rid of this and we're wasting money. Where do we stand on this? Because this is a huge economic boost to Arizona, right?
It is a huge economic boost. And, you know, the first announcement, TSMC putting down their American roots right here in Arizona, came in 2021, so before the CHIPS Act was passed. But the CHIPS Act has been instrumental in getting them to commit further investment, getting a lot of their suppliers to come over here and help create this semiconductor ecosystem that really is cementing Arizona as the semiconductor capital of America. And why that is important and why Arizonans should care about that is it means jobs. It means good paying jobs. It means a lot of jobs for Arizonans. And that's why it's important. So I will say the announcement last week about the additional $100 billion and the additional 3 fabs. So we're going to see 6 fabs all here in Arizona, came after a meeting that the president had with the president of TSMC from Taiwan. So I think, you know, it's safe to say the meeting went well. And I don't think this additional investment relies on more funding from the CHIPS Act, but the CHIPS Act that came to TSMC is critical for their increased investment and continued growth. And I would hate to see the president pull something back that is a promise that's been made to not just these companies, but to Arizonans who are going to benefit from these good paying jobs that are created.
Governor, if he pulls it back, what do you do?
Look,
You got to jump in, right? You got to roll out to Washington. What do you do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think the legality is certainly in question. This is money that, one, has been appropriated by Congress. Number two, signed in a contract. And so there's all kinds of legal problems there. And we'll certainly fight that alongside TSMC because this is jobs for Arizonans. And again, going back to the uncertainty, we now have the certainty that this investment is happening. There's a lot of infrastructure that's been created to make sure it continues to happen. The roads around TSMC, making sure the energy grid is sufficient and meets the needs and the demand, and that we're addressing the water issues. And again, all of that going away is creating more uncertainty.
Governor Katie Hobbs is joining us in studio. The last time we had you here, you had the executive order. It was the security task force. It was called Operation Desert Guardian. So it's for border security.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you talked to a bunch of different sheriffs. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos. Let me play a clip and see what you think. Here he is.
I think everybody knows I support Governor Hobbs. I always have. But this was just poor communication. And it's not on me. I didn't communicate with anybody that I'm doing the task force. It was told I was, and then the media calls me. And I'm like, I know nothing about any task force. Please.
So he says he doesn't necessarily need it. Did you ever talk to him? Was he in the loop? He says he wasn't. What do you think, Governor?
All of the sheriffs were in the loop. We have regular meetings. He was at the meeting where we rolled out the plan for the task force, which we did right before announcing it. We wanted to make sure that, the announcement came from us. And now we're in the planning phases with all of the stakeholders, including the sheriffs. And we'll continue to work with all of the sheriffs and local law enforcement on border security.
So he was aware of this whole thing?
Yes.
And so he's saying that he wasn't. So is he lying?
Look, I will tell you that Sheriff Nanos was at the meeting where we rolled out the plan for this task force.
All right.
Got another question for you. DOGE, the
Yes.
Department of Government Efficiency, is going after a couple of different agencies and affecting people right here in Arizona. Especially, we see the VA. Now, 2,400 VA workers laid off. There's plans to lay off even more of them. How is this affecting veterans here? And again, is there a plan for the state of Arizona to make up any of the difference?
Let me first say that I think we can all support going after government waste, fraud, and abuse. And we, especially elected leaders, should be focused on making sure we're not perpetuating that. I ended the biggest fraud scandal in Arizona history when I took action on the sober living home crisis. It was costing billions of taxpayer dollars. But I think that this is something that has to be done, again, very strategically, very thoughtfully. And they're kind of going at this with a battle axe instead of a scalpel. And when it comes to the VA, Arizona is home to over 600,000 veterans. And not too long ago, the VA here in Phoenix was at the center of the VA scandal. We've finally gotten past that point. And these kind of indiscriminate layoffs without regard to position or anything, and how you're going to make up for those services that veterans now are not getting. These are veterans who might need counseling because they're suicidal. We know that veteran suicide is a big issue and things we're trying to tackle. The VA is a critical partner in that. Just getting basic health care that they need, getting services because they became disabled during their service. All of those things are now at risk. And again, 600,000 veterans home in Arizona. And so, no, Arizona is not prepared to make up these cuts or anything else, whether it's in personnel or in funding. And when it comes to healthcare, we have healthcare shortages all across the state. And so, if any laid off VA hospital workers want to come work for the state, we're happy to have you.
Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs is joining us in studio every couple weeks. We've got an execution next week. So the last time I had you on, I asked you about the firing squad bill. I like that. Now, I don't think it's inhumane. I've done some research on it. I know it sounds really awful. You said you weren't for that. But if the executions are back on and you put a temporary stop on the executions for nearly 2 years, you wanted to review the process.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you learn from your investigation and review of the death penalty protocols that made you say, you know what, we can continue the death penalty in Arizona, and there's a guy next week?
Well, when I came into office, there had been a death warrant that was issued by the previous AG, and it was a new administration there, a new administration in my office, a new director at the Department of Corrections, and a history of sort of botched executions the last few times it's happened. And so I wanted to be able to have a chance for my office, the director's office, to really review the processes that are in place and ensure that we could carry out this ultimate punishment that we're doing in the name of Arizonans, and that whatever we could do to control things that could go wrong, we were doing. And I feel confident that that has been thoroughly reviewed, and that we're at a place where, that when this happens, it will happen in the with the least room for errors as possible. I have every confidence in the director.
One of the issues was the lack of the access to the drugs, right, for the injection and the inability to get them. Is
Or
that
was
fair?
it was a lack of training?
It was all of the above. I think wanting to make sure that we had a source where we could procure the medication, and I think that was something that was addressed in the review. And yes, that the personnel could we had the personnel who could or were qualified to carry that out as well.
Got it.
Governor Katie Hobbs is joining us in studio. What about the budget and the ESAs?
Are the questions going to get any lighter for her, you think?
No.
No.
No. What do you want me to ask?
I'm joking.
Empowerment Scholarship Account.
I ran for the hard job. It's okay.
That's right. So the ESA program is designed to allow parents to use a portion of the public education money to send their students to the private and charter schools. I think it's a bunch of crap. Excuse my language, Governor.
Oh, I've said way worse things about it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I don't like it. I think it benefits rich people. So you've sounded the alarm.
Mm-hmm.
Where is this school voucher program going? And how much is it really going to cost us?
So we've already seen huge cost overruns. We're at the point where it's nearly, well, in my state, I called it a $1 billion boondoggle, and we're almost at that point. And, when I go, you said it benefits rich kids. When I go to communities like Sholo or Yuma, these are rural communities. They don't have the private school options that we have here. And so they tell me, we're sending our tax dollars to Phoenix so that kids in Paradise Valley can go to private school. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And so I have pushed to put common sense limits on the program, like income limits. This is, at the end of the day, an entitlement program, and there's no other government entitlement program that doesn't have some sort of limits or eligibility criteria, and this has none. And then transparency and some guardrails on what things can be spent on. And Superintendent Horn not too long ago said he was going to stop reviewing all of the expenses, and that's just opening it up for waste, fraud, and abuse.
People go and they buy Amazon gift cards.
Amazon gift cards. There were some dune buggies. That purchase did get stopped.
Thank goodness.
Ski passes, bounce houses, vacations, you name it.
Yeah, certainly an issue. And again, it seems to be blowing a bit of a hole in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
What's the dollar figure? What do you think this thing could cost us?
Well, it's close to $1 billion right now.
Oof.
Yeah.
How about Prop 123?
Yes.
What's going on there?
So we are.
And if you can explain it to the audience what it is and what we're going to do.
Yeah, okay. You queued up everything else. But so Prop 123, if you'll remember, was passed by the voters in 2016. This was additional funding from the state land trust to fund education and to help settle a long-standing lawsuit
I remember when
around
Ducey did it.
education funding.
Yeah.
So we are at the point where that is going to expire. So we should look at that as an opportunity, a once-in-a-decade opportunity to continue to provide this funding for our schools. We've been talking to stakeholders on both sides of the aisle for the last year now. We have to do it this year. It's really critical that we get it done this year because the funding expires this year. And we released a new proposal last week that has been very well received, I think, by both sides. And so I hope we're close to getting something through the legislature that can then get to voters that they can pass and give our teachers across Arizona a raise.
What's the opposition to it?
I think it's really in the details, in the really the legislative majority, because across the board, the stakeholders are on board. And I haven't heard opposition since we released a new plan, a new proposal. So I know that Senator Mesnard and Representative Gress are kind of leading the charges for their caucuses, and we've been talking with them. So I'm hopeful we can get something move through soon.
Hear, hear. All right, Governor Hobbs, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you in a couple weeks, Governor.
Couple more weeks,
Thanks
you'll be
a lot.
back, either bi-weekly or bi-monthly. We're going to figure that out, hopefully.
It's bi-monthly.
It is bi-monthly?
Yes. Bi-weekly would be twice a week, and
Okay.
you guys are great. But
Bi-monthly.
No, nobody wants to do that.
I learned something. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's Governor Katie Hobbs in studio with us. Tell you what, we're going to do a quick check of the headlines, and then we're back. We're going to get to react to some of the things you said. It's coming up next for Outspoken on KTAR.
And this is John Roller live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. A couple of crashes working. The latest one in the North Valley, westbound Loop 101, the Pima Freeway. This crash is right near 7th Avenue, and that is causing slowing all the way back to Cave Creek Road. That earlier crash on the westbound I-10 right near the stack, that has cleared away. So that's slowing in the downtown area heading westbound. Starting to look a little bit better. You're still looking at about 35 minutes from the mini stack out to 75th Avenue. 16th Street south of Bethany Home Road. We've got a crash there, a crash at Glendale east of 47th Avenue, and a crash at 7th Street south of Bethany Home Road. Traffic is brought to you by Y-Refi. Don't let private student loan debt ruin your life. Go to YRefi.com. That's YREFY.com. John Roller, KTAR News.
All right, Connecticut water. Very refreshing, but even more important, very safe to drink. Arizona's water is bad on a lot of different counts. Forever chemicals, dangerous carcinogens in our water. How about all the chlorine that you're ingesting? How about the steam from the shower with the chlorine, and you're breathing that in? Not good. You want to give your family the best, and you want to hire the best. So hire the water experts that live here in Arizona. There are all these other so-called water experts, but guess what? They don't live here. They live in like Nebraska or New York or something like that. Just ridiculous. Let me give you a 602 number, okay? Because you want to hire people who know the water situation, who live here. 602-910-6570. 602-910-6570. In business since 1987. That is Connecticut. You can also check them out at aquazona.com.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just kind of knew from the beginning that we were family.
They showcase a sense of love that I never had before. I mean, he's not only my parent, he's like my best friend.
At the end of the day, it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change a thing about our lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt U.S. Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Home buying season is right around the corner, and now is a perfect time to make your move. Whether you're buying your first home or upgrading your home, you deserve to work with a mortgage company who can close on time and put you first. We are seeing a shift in the market, and now is your opportunity. Don't stress over complicated paperwork or hidden fees. When you work with the Lund team, it's all about making the process simple and straightforward. This home buying season, work with a team that's always here for you. Go to lundmortgage.com. That's lundmortgage.com.
Check out what your neighbors are up to and find out more about their lives and livelihoods on the Amazing Arizonans podcast. Politicians, celebrities, sheriffs, secret agents, and more talk with Mike Broomhead, and you can sit in on the conversations on the KTAR YouTube channel, KTAR.com, or the KTAR News app. Amazing Arizonans, presented by Resolution Copper.
I'm LaDonna Harvey. Coming up tomorrow morning on Arizona's Morning News with Jim Sharp and me, we take a look at Congress wrangling over funding the government. That's tomorrow morning from 5 to 8 on Arizona's Morning News, right here on KTAR.
All righty. Hey, appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with us. And hopefully you got something out of our bi-monthly talk with the governor. Katie Hobbs was in studio with us. I got to tell you, you know what I take away from it is I am concerned as a taxpayer about the ESA program, the school voucher program, and the impact this could have on the state of Arizona. I mean, when I look at the things we can control, you know what I'm saying, as a state, I think that even if you're in favor of the voucher system, I would hope that you could understand that not having guardrails could lead us down a path where, as a state, we're forced to make some really tough decisions in the future. Is that fair?
Yeah, I don't like the voucher program, and I've been against it from the very beginning. And I know that most Republicans love it, and most Democrats don't like it. I'm not either. I'm an independent. I don't want to be part of either of those parties. But I think that vouchers are welfare for the wealthy. I really do. I think that when it comes to school choice, and it's kind of a reverse Robin Hood scam. You're taking tax dollars from the parents of South Phoenix and you're giving it to the wealthy parents of North Scottsdale. And I don't think that that's fair.
She made the point that, you go to Yuma or you go to some of these rural communities, they don't even have the option.
Yeah.
There is no private school. There is nowhere to take the voucher to. Right. Public school is all they have. So they can't even participate in the program, even if they wanted to.
Right, because I think you have to look at what it costs to go to a school, right? Because you get like $6 or $7 grand here, it goes with you. Mm-hmm. Like some of these private schools, like sometimes tuition is 20 grand, 30 grand, right? So if the voucher is like $6 grand, not enough working families can get a choice. They're not going to be able to make up the rest of that money. And so I've never been for it. And I never will be. I just don't like it. I've never liked it.
I hear it.
I think that some say it's school choice. I think it's a scam. I think there are a lot of people that use the money and homeschool their kids. Okay, I know some folks who homeschool their kids. Not really for that either. If you want to do it, you have every right to do it. It's you're a parent, it's your kid. But I think you should be taught in a school by someone who went to school to know how to teach kids. Not everybody knows how to teach kids. So I think it's a total
Listen,
scam.
I think people like me have the biggest argument.
And what's that?
I've never sent a kid to school.
Right.
But I've been paying for it the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've got a good argument. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And where's my refund then? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not sending anybody to say, what did I do wrong? I can't even take advantage of it because I don't have kids. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to have kids just to do that.
No, don't do that.
I'm not going to.
But Governor Hobbs has decided that she'd come in every couple of weeks and she's going to answer, the tough questions. And I think part of today, if you listened, it was the news of the day, especially at the beginning with the economy, with the Dow, and her. She said the word uncertainty, and everyone is saying uncertainty, even if you're Republican. Uncertainty. The uncertainty that's coming from the Oval Office is hurting the economy, and it's crushing the Dow. And I think if you're out there and you're a Republican, you're hoping that this works. Listen, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I hope what he's doing works. I don't like what I see. I don't like my retirement fund right now, and I don't think anybody does.
Yeah.
It's a lot of uncertainty.
We're going to dig into more of that. We got a quick check of the headlines on the way. And then on the other side, the Southwest Airlines that you grew up with, that you knew and loved.
No.
It's probably gone forever.
No.
We'll tell you about the latest changes. It's coming up next for Outspoken on KTAR.
Hey, let me hook you up with my friends at Red Mountain Weight Loss. And if you've been losing weight on GLP-1 medications, or if you've thought about starting, now is the time. We're talking semaglutide and tirzepatide. Breakthrough GLP-1 medications everybody's talking about. You'll lose 15 pounds a week. 15 pounds a month. I'll repeat that. 15 pounds a month. A week is a little bit tight. Yeah, 15 pounds a month. Here's the thing. A lot of stories going around of people wanting to purchase semaglutide, but they're purchasing it from a website they know nothing about or a company they know nothing about. At Red Mountain Weight Loss, you're getting semaglutide, premium GLP-1s that are compounded right here in the United States. They are tested in FDA-inspected labs. You've got to know what you're getting is safe. It's safe at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Book your appointment today. Mention Gaydos. Lock in your $200 savings. $200 savings on GLP-1s. Okay? RedMountainWeightLoss.com.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Every business